We just getting richer every day. And the little that the poor man got shall be taken away. Do you hear what I say? Hey, one is always acting smart and forgetting that your love is hard. Shall say God is in here everywhere. There's eyes are watching you. You gotta be away. Two, 1, 2. Test, test. 1, 2, turn it up. 1, 2, test, test. 1, 2, check. Good. Check. 1, 2. Turn it up. Let's do a test. 1, 2, check. Check. I love for the first time. Check. 1, 2. 1, 2. Yeah, I'm here. So, I'm gonna put it up there on stage and see what it's. Yeah, this thing I use the same mic as you. It's hard to tell. Let's just do it with a 58. Okay. One, two, check. Over 500. 1, 2, check. There, come on. What's that? 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, put it a little bit in my monitor there. So it should be in the same. Okay. 1, 2. Wow, that's murder. Yeah, I got something back to grounding as well. One, two, bring this up. 1, 2. One, two, check, check. We'll go with that. One, two, put this all across the front. Especially at one, or especially at this one over here. One, two, check, check. 1, 2, look at 1. 1, 2, check. Good. One, two, check, check, check.
Good evening. Is that loud enough? We can make it louder. We can add a backbeat to it. Welcome to the Flamingo Cantina. Thank you for being here with Texas Normal. Y'all said truth cards right outside. If you want to have your picture taken, the truth cards back on the road. Thank you. How many people are here for the first time at the Flamingo Cantina? Thank you for being here. Welcome. We're Texas Normal, and we are going to legalize marijuana in the state of Texas. That's our goal. When I became an activist for Texas Normal 3 years ago, I learned something very important. And what I learned was that when you become an activist, you have this big challenge. And the challenge is to balance your life between your work as an activist and your full-time job that pays the bills, and your family life and your personal life. And people who become activists in Texas Normal, we're fanatics. I admit we are fanatics for legalizing marijuana in Texas. And the reason we're fanatics is because there's this number that's always right in front of our eyes. That number is 70,000. That's the number of Texans who are arrested every year in our state for possessing marijuana. And we want that number to go from 70,000 to 0, and we're not going to rest until that number does become 0. Now, when I joined Texas Normal, the executive director was Joshua Shipberg, and then Joshua resigned, and the executive director after that was Cheyenne G. Weldon. And so I worked with Texas Normal with 2 executive directors. And one reason that Joshua resigned, and one reason that Cheyenne resigned, is because their lives got out of balance. Because they were devoting so much time to Texas Normal, it was taking time away from their full-time job and taking time away from their family and their personal time. And that was a big factor why they had to not be the executive director of Texas Normal anymore. And so after Cheyenne resigned, Jamie Spencer, our legal counsel, became our interim executive director for the 2015 legislative session. And as we went through the 2015 legislative session, the board of Texas Normal reflected, what can we do to help our next executive director keep his or her life in balance between the activism, the full-time job that pays the bills, the family, and the personal life. Because as you know, if you're not an activist, it's a real challenge for you to keep your life in balance between your full-time job and your family in your personal life. And then you add many, many hours of activism to that equation, and something you get out of balance real quick if you're not careful. And so the Texas NORML Board decided that what we would do for the next executive director of Texas NORML to help this person keep their life in balance and focus all of their professional efforts on legalizing marijuana in Texas, that we would make the executive director position of Texas NORML a full-time paid position. This has never been done in Texas, and maybe not in the entire history of NORML. But we need to do this so that our executive director can stay 100% focused on the legislative session that's just over the horizon in 2017. And so that's why we made this decision. This way, the executive director has a full-time job, and that full-time job is working to legalize marijuana in Texas. And he or she can focus all of their efforts on this job. Because as you know, legalizing marijuana in Texas is a huge challenge. We the people cannot put this on the ballot through petition. We have to work through the legislature up here at the Capitol. And during the 2015 legislative session, we sponsored 4 lobby days, 2 of which were led by Vincent Lopez, the Nation Alliance for Cannabis Therapeutics. We had a veterans lobby day. We had a citizens lobby day with over 300 citizens showing up. We had 2 major press conferences. We had many other events, and we were able to introduce 12 marijuana reform bills in the legislature, which is an increase of 10 bills from the previous legislative session. And so we believe by having a full-time paid executive director for Texas NORML, we will be able to be even more effective than we were in 2015. And then we started thinking about, okay, who should be the executive director of Texas NORML? And the person that we thought of is a person who during the last decade has done more than anyone else in the state of Texas to move legislation through the legislature to legalize marijuana in Texas. And her name is Jack Stinkle. And it is my great honor to introduce Jack Stinkle, the new executive director of Texas NORML.
Thank you, Dave. Everybody, Dave, a round of applause. He's doing a great work on that. So first of all, I'm super excited. I started yesterday. And it's been it's actually been a lot of work, and I see a path that we have to walk, and there's definitely a lot of responsibility that comes with it. I feel like I can't see y'all with my hat, so I'm going to go Monty. So we have a very long road to walk, and it's going to be an endurance race, and it's going to be really important that we know when we need to sprint and when we need to rest. And right now is going to be a time where we really need to gather our strength, get organized, and get ready. Because we may be talking about the 2017 legislative session, but it's 18 months till then, and it's a lot of work to be done. And I want to talk about some of the goals that we as a board have in mind, that these are going to be programs that I'm going to be focusing on very diligently. And the first thing I want to talk about is the primaries. So you guys know in Texas, our districts are gerrymandered to heck. You already know what party is going to be elected in most of the districts in Texas before the election even happens. So we really have to activate at the primary level. So we need to be finding out who these primary candidates are, how they stand on the issues. We need to be activating people in the primaries to go and actually vote at that level, because it's extremely low turnout. So what we're going to do is create a primary voters guide. And we're going to use this as a way to educate primary voters. We're also going to make sure that people are aware of how the primary process even works, because it's a very convoluted process. And in addition to that, we're going to work at the state political convention. So you go through the primaries and you get your candidates, and then you go to the state conventions and you kind of deal more with the nuts and bolts of the political organization. And at that level, you can introduce what's called a plank. And a plank is an official stance on their platform. And we had success in 2012 adding a cannabis plank to the Democratic platform. So that is an amazing win. On top of that, we had a very close call with the Republican Party, where in 2014 we almost got a cannabis-friendly plank on their platform. So we need to continue that and make sure that we have planks on the platform so we can hold these representatives accountable to what their party platform is. So that we can say, no, this is what you need to be supporting right here. Then it's going to be getting the voters out. We need to do voter registration guides. We're going to also do a voter's guide to the general election so that you know who to vote for once we have all the real candidates. Where do they stand? Because the fact of the matter is that 507 this last session had 41 co-authors. And you want to know that, right? You want to know if the person that's in your district supported that bill. And we'll be able to get you that information so that when you go and you vote, you can make sure you're voting for a cannabis-friendly candidate. And then it's going to be time for the legislative session. As Dave mentioned, over the last decade, there's been the same 2 bills introduced into the session, and then we had 12 bills. So it was way more than we expected, and we really worked at our maximum bandwidth to get done what we were able to get done. And so we want to expand on activist trainings, have more lobby days. We need to make sure that we have authors for these bills in advance because some of our bills died because we ran out of time. And we have 140 days every 2 years. So we really have to be on top of our timeline and on top of the tasks that we have to meet. We also need to work with outreach, making sure that we're reaching out to totally different demographics. Recently, Dave, Bass, and Jamie, and Vincent and myself, we went and we spoke at the Drug Impact Conference. That conference is a continuing learning education course for law enforcement, probation officers, correctional officers, and they invited us to come and be the keynote speakers. That's a big deal. That's the type of stuff we need to be doing. Vincent and I were also invited to go and speak at the Retired Physician Organization of Travis County. That's a huge deal. Retired physicians want to know about cannabis? Yes, please. So we need to keep doing that type of outreach. And then in general, tightening up the organization, making sure that we're running smoothly and in compliance in all manners, making sure that we have really good conversations and communications with our sister chapters, because there's a lot of chapters across Texas. And since we're based out of Austin, we really need to make sure that we're having a good line of communication. We had far and above much better communication this last session than we had in the past. And I've already called every executive director in Texas to talk to them about how we can work together in the next section, because there's no way that TXNORML can do it by ourselves. These people are out in all of the other areas, and we need to make sure that we can enable them to have their constituents and their voices heard too. Because it's hard sometimes for people from El Paso and the Rio Grande Valley and DFW to drive all the way to the Capitol. So we need to make sure that we're helping them activate at their local level in their home offices. And so we're going to work very hard to communicate with them on that. I've got notes and stuff. So I also want to touch on, so of the 12 bills, we had one bill passed. It's called the Texas Compassionate Use Act. And what it does is it does legalize CBD oil for epileptics. So if you get the prescription from 2 neurologists or epileptologists, I'm sorry, that's a hard one to say, you guys, then you can access CBD oil. It's a very restricted rule, but nonetheless, Texas is now a medical cannabis state. So what we have to do is make sure that this program is enacted. Whether you love it or you hate it, there are 750,000 Texans that can benefit from the CBD oil because they have epilepsy, and it's likely that CBD will help them, and we need to make sure that they have access. It is unacceptable for a bill to pass and an act to be accepted and signed into law by the governor and it not help patients. So we're going to make sure that the rules are fulfilled properly and that we hold them accountable and make sure that people can access their medicine. But also, we need to expand the bill. There's a lot of conditions that could be helped with just CBD. More conditions need to be added to that list. And we also have to destigmatize THC and teach people about the synergistic effects and how sometimes just CBD won't help. That won't help most of our veterans. That won't help most of our cancer patients. And that's what we need to make sure that we're talking about. And then on top of that, I have to work on fundraising because these are lots of programs that we have to do. We're going to be working with our coalition, Texans for Responsible Marijuana Policy. There's 25 coalition partners that are relying on us to make sure that we get this voter guy out, you guys. This is our task for our coalition. These are big deals, so we have to make sure that we're fundraising and making sure that we have the money to hold these extra lobby days to do all of these extra programs that we want to do. And so if you want to know kind of more the nuts and bolts of what I'm going to be doing on a day-to-day basis, you can go to TXNORML.org and the whole full description of what I will be working on is up there. You can review it. And of course, if you have any questions, you can email me or talk to me after the meeting. Okay, so now it comes to you guys, right? Because you guys are going to have to get out there. I'm going to try my best to make sure you have every bit of organization and every bit of information and every lobby day that you can go attend, but you have to show up. It's the grassroots that have to show up and outgrow big grow, if you will. So how can you do that? Oh, you like that one, didn't you? So you need to be able to know how to be an activist. If you've never done it before, it can seem really intimidating, but I swear it's addictive. You'll love it. So we have activist training resources online. We hold activist training camps. There's a lot of education that we can offer you on how to engage and how to be an activist in your area. And then because we rely on our elected officials to get laws passed here to change the drug laws, you have to register to vote. If you're not registered to vote, you're not changing anything, unfortunately. That's how it works here. You can't sign a petition to change the law. You have to go vote, and it matters who you vote for. So look for that voters registration online. We'll be doing voter registration drives, and also look for the voters guide when that time comes. Also, you become a member. When you become a member, your dues sustain what we're doing. On top of that, we know which districts you're in, what particular activism you're interested in, and we can send you pinpointed messages. One way that we were really effective last session was we have these things called tags. So let's say we tagged you to District 52, and man, District 52 just didn't believe us that he had support for cannabis in his area. Well, I went and looked up how many members we had in that area and emailed them and said, hey, if you have time, please give this guy a call. He doesn't believe us. Bam, we got 10 people calling your office right there. So that's how we can make sure to amplify your voice at the Capitol, become a member, and help support us that way. You can also become a sustaining donor. We have a lobbyist, and man, he did a good job this last session. He really worked it hard for those bills. And the way that we're able to do that is through our coalition. Our coalition has a matching donor that every year matches the $100,000 that we raise. So if we can't raise that $100,000, we don't get to pay our lobbyists, and that's not acceptable. So if you want to become a sustaining donor, you can help us with our lobby campaign. You can do that online. And actually, that table is where you can become a member. Wait, Betty. Betty's our volunteer coordinator also. If you want to volunteer, she's who you should connect with. And that's another way you can help us out. We are almost completely run by volunteers. I'm going to be the first paid staffer ever. And so it's volunteers that make things happen. When I need the graphic for our upcoming lobby day, you know who I call? Preston Scott. And they got it on lockdown because those are our graphic volunteers. Can you donate your time? Can you donate a talent? Can you donate your money? These are the type of things that we need. And time is really valuable. We need help with shipping. We need help with membership coordination. So we'll be putting out a list of gaps that we need to fill, and I hope that you guys will reach out to us. There's going to be a few positions on the board that we're going to be looking into as well, because we need to expand the outreach and the areas that we're covering. So I hope that you'll look for that and how you find out about all this good stuff. We have a wonderful newsletter that we'll send you. You can sign up for that. Or, there's this thing called social media that some people do sometimes. And we're on most of them. So you can go follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We do updates that way. And also, I don't know if you noticed, but I have a really fabulous shirt on. And so does that guy. So does that guy. We sell these shirts, guys, up there. Us is up there. If you would wait, if you knew what we were talking about. So these are the ways that you can support TXNORML is by being actively involved. I mean, that's the most important thing is that you're voting and being actively involved and donating your time to this organization. So what are we going to be doing in the upcoming months? Let me turn the page and tell you. That didn't work very well. Okay, so we have several events coming up. On the 13th of this month, we have an athletics group that's called Teen Hope Through Cannabis, THC. That's our captain. And we're going to be doing Run with the Heroes. It's a 5K in South Park. You can run or walk or be a cheerleader. And you can participate in this event. It's going to benefit fallen heroes and their families. These are first responders of fire and EMS. You can go to the Facebook page and find the event there. And then in October, on the 7th, we'll be back here at Flamingo Cantina because we're here the first Wednesday of every month. And then we have another THC event on October 10th. It's going to be Walk to End Alzheimer's at Camp Neighborhood. And I did this event several years ago. It's a really nice event. Alzheimer's is a very difficult disease that some people struggle with, and cannabis has been shown to help people with the effects of Alzheimer's and even, helping some of the progression with Alzheimer's. So I hope that you'll come and show up in your cannabis wear. We do have Team THC shirts if you're interested, and show that potheads are not necessarily lazy. We go out and we're active and athletic, and we're professionals too. So we have to break those stereotypes, and doing events like this help do that. And then on the 23rd of October, we have our annual members mixer. And who here has been to a members mixer? Raise your hand. Okay, so you all know. Go ask one of them. It's pretty awesome. And I can't tell you where it's at because it's secret. And you only use your number, but it's a really good time. We've traditionally done a dress up, like Halloween themed one, but it's the week before Halloween, so I'm not really sure where we're going with that. We'll have more details for you on that. And then we're very excited about a veterans event that we have coming up on Veterans Day. It's the Austin Veterans Parade, and there will be a march where TXNORML is an official participant in the march. We will have banners and signage. If you are a veteran, please come participate. We're going to identify shirt, hat, pin, whatever you'd like. Bring a sign if you'd like. However, it cannot be anything political. So, it has to be just based on, cannabis and it's a small set. But then there will be a kind of a rally at the Vietnam Monument afterwards. So we're really looking forward to that. It's going to be a really great event. And then next is James Spencer. He's our Texas legal counsel, and he's going to discuss site and release for Travis County residents. Come on up, John. It's like really weird. But first, Jamie has been our interim executive director for us for about the last year, and he was our legal counsel since 2012. And this is to honor Jamie. He has given advice to countless members. He has helped us build and grow and really done a wonderful job for us. We appreciate everything you do. We know it's not easy to be a professional lawyer and also help all these wonderful people and love your family. So thank you very much. And too far outside is Jimmy's guy. So now we're continuing with that lovely lawyerly advice.
All right, guys, thank you. I appreciate this very much. Come after the meeting and we'll take pictures and street cards. It's fun and you post them on Facebook and stuff like that. I'm wearing the hat, of course, because it's from Monty. And I'm going to say a few words about Monty myself at the end of my talk. And I'm going to introduce everybody to come up with a memorial. I'm going to put the hat on the stand on style. And Jack's asked me to come and talk this evening a little bit about site release and how that law came about and what it means for you. As most of you know, possession of marijuana is still a jailable offense in Texas. Even a tiny, but usable amount is a Class B misdemeanor. This does not happen to most people, certainly, but that means it carries up to 180 days in jail and up to a $2,000 fine, or even if you were to take back time on that, you would free you in jail and you find out and just says, hey, remember that day you spent in jail. That still results in criminal conviction on your record, or as many of my clients would say, yes, this is the possibility, but it's an even worse possibility than that time. It means the possibility of probation. I'm not going to ask if anybody has been on probation. Does anybody know anybody that has been on probation and has suffered through that indignity? Anybody? Yeah, probation sucks. Okay? Most of my clients are, in theory, perfectly capable of getting through probation if they stop their use of marijuana, because they'll be drug tested on a regular basis if they're a possession marijuana client. But what I'm talking about is, even if the higher limits of the punishments are not inflicted upon my clients on a regular basis, it's because those possibilities are there in the first place that they suffer the indignity of the arrest, the unnecessary part of having to hire a lawyer to go to court for them for something that shouldn't be a crime in the first place, and maybe they have to jump through some hoops to get it dismissed. And it's great to do community service. It's really stupid to listen to an 8 or a 15-hour class where they'll tell you that you smoke marijuana today, they'll shoot heroin in the gutter tomorrow. So some of the stuff can be good, some of the stuff is ridiculous, but none of it should be being imposed by our government. And it all starts out on the scene with a police officer and my client, and typically a little baggie of dope. Okay, not much, but some of it. And up until 2007, I was reflecting on this actually earlier today, but I thought about what I was going to say. When we get to the next legislative session, it's actually going to be the 10-year anniversary of what was a huge victory for us at the time, and that was the cite and release law. It used to be that police had no discretion whatsoever. If they caught you with marijuana, they had to take you directly to jail. Well, that was what the law was. The truth is, I've been in practice for 10 years prior to that, and I had quite a few people who come to me on a possession of drug paraphernalia Class C type of case. And I would ask my clients about the facts of it, and it turned out it really was a possession of marijuana case, where they had actually dope, maybe a grinder, or usually not a bomb in their car, that was the time, some sort of pipe or something like that. And the police officer on his own, now remember, who here lives in Travis County? Okay, most folks. Who doesn't? I see some non-Travis. Where are y'all from? Hey, okay, well, this is a little harsher. Don't really know. That's just, you just got some great free legal advice. I'm nervous driving to Mobile and I don't even have a kilo of cocaine in my car. Or anything. I don't have anything in my car. But I gotta go there to defend those. So, in Travis County, one thing I learned in my first teenage years of practice was cops didn't want to arrest people for possession of marijuana because it was a colossal waste of their time. For the most part, they're working 8 to maybe 8 to 10-hour shifts, depending on when they book somebody. And if they found you out in West Austin with some marijuana, they were supposed to push you in the back of the car, drive you down to the Travis County jail, take you through the booking process. They had to write a police report. They had to submit something called a probable cause affidavit for warrant of arrest detention to their sergeant at arrest review. He had to take a look at it. He had to tell me, look this, go ahead and submit it to the judge. The judge would set it on. That could take a third of their shift. Okay, so they were on their own already. And I suspect it happened in other places, although very frequently in Hayes and never in Williamson County. A lot of places there was sort of a de facto don't arrest folks for marijuana, but it was some rational thought. The police officers realized what their job was is to protect and serve and to arrest people for actual crimes. But that was really pretty few and far between. I mean, you didn't have a 10% chance of that happening to you. Most of my clients that got caught would go, got thrown in the trash in jail. So there was an unusual coalition of partners in 2007. We've heard the phrase politics makes strange bedfellows. Well, TXNORML was certainly a driving force behind it, but I'm going to give credit to them because we would not have done it without them. Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, MAD, was also behind the cyber release bill. And what did that cyber release bill say? It said for nonviolent, or specific nonviolent, low-level misdemeanors, the police no longer had to arrest folks for driving while license suspended, which sounds like a traffic ticket, but depending on the circumstances, it can be the same level as DWI, 108 days, 2005. Graffiti, believe it or not, small-time shoplifting. I mean, there's an offense that actually hurts people. I mean, the prices at your HEB are 5% higher than they have to be because folks are shoplifting stuff from the HEB. I mean, we all pay that. Ultimately, HEB doesn't pay it, they just pass the cost on us. And yes, possession of marijuana. Now, the rules were that each individual police department had to make up a set of conditions under which they would not arrest somebody for possession of marijuana. Travis County, I'm proud to say, was the first county to do it. Austin Police Department was the first police department to do it. They very quickly came up with several rules wherein my clients, instead of being dragged immediately to jail, were given a ticket. It didn't make it a Class C offense. It didn't mean they were going to go to municipal court and just make a fine or automatically get XYZ. It was dismissal, which is what happens on speeding tickets and possessions of drug paraphernalia. They would eventually have to be booked. They're not really arrested, just fingerprinted, photographed. That would happen a month later. And a month later, that makes a huge difference from the standpoint of none of my clients have ever expected to be arrested. It always happens out of the blue. So if you have to go to jail immediately that night, you may not even have the opportunity to explain to your boss in the morning why you didn't show up. Whereas if you're given a ticket, sent on your way, you have to go to court. A month from now, you can come up with some excuse or call boss on the phone that morning. You know, kind of say, however it was, you could at least arrange it so it didn't disturb your personal life, your professional life, whatever that was. Now, in taking a look back, again, proud of you for this speech, I took a look today at where cyber release is in Texas. In Travis County, we pride ourselves as being progressive, and that's why we were the first folks that ended up with a system like that. Houston finally did it, I think, last year, or maybe 18 months ago. Remember, we're at the 8-year anniversary now. There's a really interesting story if you want to Google Texas site release about a young African American woman in Dallas that pulls out these awesome signs about how their police agencies need to effectuate sign release. It hasn't gone on all across Texas like it has here. And remember, we're not really talking about decriminalization. We're always talking about not throwing my client in jail at that immediate moment. They still have to face those further penalties. So the last thing I want to say about sign release tonight is I do hope, by the way, that you will come and join. First off, I see a lot of people here who have been at our lobby days that Dave and Jax were already talking about. I want to thank you personally for coming. I want to ask you to bring your friends and mom next time. But sure, bring them on. Listen, I'm going to tell you a story about my mom. My mom, I thought, was totally against marijuana decriminalization. And a few years ago, she had come to town. It was during the week, that would be the first Wednesday. We go off topic, because yes. And so my wife knows that I'm not around to watch the kids on the first Wednesday of every month, but I got snuck out of the house and Uber over to Flamingo. And what I found out happened later was my mom asked my wife where I was. I thought my wife had the sense not to tell my mom where I was. But no, she said, yeah, he's in the Texas meeting. Well, what's that? Yeah, let's try to legalize marijuana. So my wife outwitted my mom. And my mom is a rational person. She didn't really agree about it when I came back, but she asked me some questions about it. And then a couple of weeks later, I think this was about 2 years ago, something else. I remember when this was. About 2 weeks after she'd gone back to where she lives and was no longer in my house, she called me up and told me, hey, I read in the Time magazine Dr. Sanjay Gupta apologized for saying that medical marijuana was bullshit, which is what he said sometime in 2009, and he said, no, this is real. So, yes, bring your friends, bring your mom. First off, your mom might already be a convert, and if she's not, we're on the side of right, and your mom is on the side of right, and she can be converted, and she can come and talk to the legislators at our next lobby day. So, back to side release. I think one point we can make to the legislators when we're meeting with them is, listen, there's tons of places, not enough, but many, where we haven't been immediately arresting people for possession of marijuana. And when you say that to them in 2017, you can say, that has been 10 years of us not immediately arresting every marijuana defendant that a police officer comes across. And if society hasn't collapsed and nothing bad has happened as a result of that, perhaps it's time we consider not even prosecuting them for it in the first place. So, anyway, 10 years of silent release. It's not enough, but it's something TXNORML has been involved in the past, and it's a guidepost for what we're looking for in the future in terms of a comprehensive medical bill, in terms of a bill for 0 to 1 ounces daily marketing ticket, and other victories we're looking forward to in 2017. The next speaker is going to be David Whitney, and I'm going to take more personal privilege here and say a little bit about Monty and myself. We have been at Flamingo Cantina, and Angela, thank you, and please tip your bartenders tonight. We've been at Flamingo for 6 years, probably. I don't even know how long it's been. It's been quite some time. And several years ago, I don't even remember how it came up. I know that I was there at the board meeting. We talked about how we have our monthly meeting, and then now chaplains come on later, but maybe we can do something in between. Finally, please stick around for the now chaplains. That's right, Atlanta, Austin, all of your favorites. We started the comedy hour, and the Outlaw Montgomery Wayne was our MC for years, and he came out before he did his routine as well. He worked very hard to get us a new batch of comics every time we were here. But really, just a personal note, if my life had taken several better turns, I would have had the balls to take up stand-up comedy instead of lawyering. I used to talk to Monty about that. He was very generous with his time. I would even come up to him with little routines that I had come up with. And I saw him at other comedy events, and I saw him outside the Flamingo Cantina. And he was always, as I say, kind and generous to me in my little dreams of being a stand-up comic myself. Don't worry, I'm never going to do it on this stage. You don't worry about that. I used to have a routine with Monty where many of you all know he would get frustrated with us about every 3 or 4 months because we weren't always the best audience of paying attention to him. He and I used to have a little laugh session afterwards about, oh, I'm sorry, I got a little frustrated with the crowd tonight, or, you know, it's better tonight. So that was always fun. And then I want to end with this. I was talking about my mom earlier. My mom is 82 years old. Up until about 6 months ago, I used to say my mom was like the army. She did more before 8 a.m. than I did all day. But she's had some health problems. She's going to be moving to Austin. And as we all know, Monty took care of someone as well. And we talked about those sorts of issues, and he was helpful with that. And I really appreciate him. And the bottom line is, Monty was my friend, and I'm going to miss him. Ladies and gentlemen, take it away. I'm going to do Monty too. 2.5. I also don't take Lone Star very often. I bought this tonight for Monty. And then that just happened. I woke up Saturday morning, it's probably about 6:30, to what seemed to be a countless number of text messages and Facebook notifications and phone calls. And that's when I found out that the Outlaw Montgomery Wayne was no longer with us. He was a great man. He was a loving family man. He was a dedicated activist. And had one of the biggest hearts of anybody I've ever met. He's done a lot with us, with TXNORML. Some of his jokes in this particular crowd may have been hit or miss at times. But that was never a deterrent to Monty. You know what I mean? He loved comedy. He loved to make people laugh. And I think he likes that we're laughing right now. You know what I mean? And we're celebrating his life. By the way, every time I rehearse this, I only got through it without crying once. So bear with me, guys. All right, man. I remember one of his jokes in particular, his Tinder joke. He would talk about, you know, the Tinder dating app or whatever, you know what I mean? And he would say, y'all on Tinder? Anybody here? Can you show hands, anybody? Oh, you? All right, cool. Yeah, Tinder. I'm not on Tinder. It's like, there's 2 reasons that I'm not on Tinder. In fact, they're here tonight. And on that particular night, if his kids were here, he would introduce his kids. Monty loved his family.
a lot. He was a caregiver, a provider, and a friend. So if anybody wants to help his family, we're doing a few different things to try to raise money for his family. Here in just a moment, you'll see some people walking around with some straw hats, collecting donations, and I actually want to be the first one to donate. If you don't want to give cash tonight, that's fine. There's a GoFundMe account set up for his family. The link is on our Facebook page as TXNORML. It's also on my personal page as well as many people in this building right now. If you still can't find it, come find me or anybody wearing a straw hat. We'll make sure you find it. Aside from that, tomorrow night at Independence Brewery, they're having a benefit for him. It's an open mic comedy night where you can sign up at 6:30 if you want to tell some jokes. The show actually starts at 7. So that's a great thing for you to be at. His memorial is going to be Friday afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. at Cap City Comedy Club. And I think that it's only his benefits and his memorial service are all comedy events, because that's the way he would want it. I want to take a moment, just a brief moment of silence together, after which I want to invite everybody upstairs to tell any stories or memories that you might want to share. Please join me in a moment. Where are my outlaws at?